Hello, it's Shelley F Knight, bringing you Positive Changes, a self-kick podcast. So today we're joined by Natasha Bowles, who grew up in Southeast Texas on a small farm. And after many life-changing events, Natasha now earns a six-figure income. So please do welcome Natasha.
Hi, good morning. Well, morning here.
Oh, bless you. Thank you for joining us, because I know it's stupid o'clock over there, isn't it?
It is 5 a.m. here in Nashville.
Bless you. You are one wonderful woman already. So please do. I know you've got an amazing life story to share, but please start by telling us one inspiring story of positive change.
So I used to work for the school system here, and I just became kind of disillusioned with it. And I left it. I left it at Christmas break in 2015. I didn't even finish out the year. And my grandfather was very ill. So he was in hospice, and we couldn't find anybody to sit with him, and I had just lost my job. So I talked to my grandmother, and I was like, well, I'll sit with him. And so he stayed with us for about 10 months, and it was a wonderful 10 months. We went on adventures. We fed birds. He liked to throw bread to the birds, and he got to the point that he was so weak he couldn't, so I bought him a slingshot. And he would slingshot the bread out into the yard to the birds. It just made my heart sing every morning to watch him do that. We would sit in the swing and sing, and on days that he felt up to it, we would drive around and look at stuff and go on adventures, and it was just a really nice time with my grandfather. And but he slept a lot because he was dying, and so while he was asleep, I started picking up some things online. I joined some different groups. I started doing copywriting. I started doing just little tasks for people, like zeroing out their inboxes, making spreadsheets, just administrative stuff that I could do online. And I met a lady that was looking for someone to fill in, to subcontract for someone that was going on maternity leave. And so I started working for her as an executive assistant, and it was just a couple hours a month, like maybe 30 total. And I really, really liked her, and I met her husband, and I liked him too. So he hired me as his EA. Started out very, very, very low hours, like 30, 40 hours a month. And then progressively, we're up to full time now with the two of us. I've been with him for 3 years now. But while I was with him in the beginning, I started picking up other things and different clients and just stuff to do online. I mean, it's amazing what all is out there if you just kind of think outside the box and look for something to do. And so I ended up with more clients that I could handle. So I took on a VA, and I took on another VA, and then a third VA. So now I have 12 clients and 4 VAs under me and a six-figure business.
You make it sound so easy, and then this just kind of happened.
Some days it feels like that's what happened, that it just kind of happened. And then some days it's like, wow, this was such a struggle.
Oh, bless you. So that's like over 5 years since you've been with your grandfather, and then you started discovering things online. And is that 5 years now you're on six figures?
4 years. I'm on six figures. So actually it was the end of 2016. So I really established and started doing my business in January of 2017. So it's actually been about 3 years.
That's
and
amazing.
I'm at six figures. So, yep, I'm hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm well on my way to 7 figures. So,
oh, well done you. I mean, well done, because you're up at 5 a.m. for starters, but then
so it's kind of surreal though, because right before I started my business, I kind of have 10 kids. I have 3 biological kids, 2 adopted kids, and I've been a foster mom on and off for the past 18 years. So I still have 5 adult kids that call me mom, that even though I didn't officially adopt them or anything like that, they still, one of them's in the Army, and I'm so proud of him. And, he's got a daughter and a wife now, and he's just my heart, my family. And, and there's just a few others that they still call me mom, even though, they aged out of the system and they're adults now. And so that's really cool. And then I adopted two of the kids that I fostered, Alicia and Lexi, and then I have Tyler, Caleb, and Kaylee. Those are my biological children, and that's part of the reason I work for the school system, so that I can work my schedule around their schedules. And we did okay. I mean, there's people that are in a lot worse position than us, but right before I started my company, things had gotten a little bit bad. My oldest son was sick. We had a lot of medical bills, a lot of stuff going on. And it just, I mean, there were days I would almost cry because I was like, how am I going to, what do I pay? What do I, what do I do? So to go from that to where I'm at now in like 3 years time, it's very surreal to me sometimes. Sometimes I sit around and look at my life and I'm like, wow, this is my life.
It's amazing. Are there any like tools or techniques that helped you?
Networking. I have to say that that's probably the most important thing that I have done, is just create and not like selling people, just creating relationships, because I have had to do very little marketing and very little outreach to grow my business, because everything that I've gotten has been word of mouth.
That's fabulous.
Yeah. So just, I think the best tool I can suggest someone use is themselves, is just network yourself, but get out there and build relationships and build them before you need them. Like, don't wait until, oh, I really need to start getting another client or something. Get out there and really start, go to conferences, guest on podcasts, get to know people, because not only, even if you don't get a client out of it, oh my gosh, you meet the most amazing people. I mean, look at me. I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning talking to you across the country, across the world. So.
Yeah, I love that. I really like it. It's just like, I love you said, like, build relationships before you need them. Because at the end of the day, if it's business or not, it's another connection. That's why we're alive. That's what makes us, isn't it? Just the connection to others.
It is. I live by one philosophy, and it's 5 a.m. here, so I cannot remember who I first heard it from.
Or what your own name is.
Or what my own name is. But the philosophy that I try to live my life and run my business by is give, take. So I try to give 3 times the value I would be receiving before even asking someone for something. And that's not to say I build the relationships to have that chip to take later, but I think that it's so important that you show value yourself before asking someone else to show value. And so many people go into something like, oh, what can, not even in a negative way, not even like, what can I get from them, rubbing their hands like an evil genius or something, just the whole, why, I need to build this relationship because I might need an accountant later, or I need to build this relationship. And I think that should be secondary. I think it needs to be, I need to build this relationship because Sherry's a really awesome person. I might need, or Shelley's a really awesome person. I might need, and have that be secondary. And I think that that's the mistake a lot of people make in entrepreneurship, is they're trying to build the relationships to build the business, and it should be the other way around.
Yeah, I totally understand that, because I can honestly say I've never been to a networking meeting, because I just think it is that kind of, shoulder pads, business, here's my card. And I'm just like, oh, I'd rather have an Oracle card. Thank you. It's really not me, but I love the way you come across. You're just like, let's just connect. Let's see where this goes. That I would network with.
Right? Thank you.
Yeah, that's lovely. But I don't like the whole sell. This is me. What do you do? Tick box, are you married? Do you have this many children? Inside leg measurement. That's really not me. So
right.
You've given me a whole new way to look at things. And I love that. Like, just, build the relationships before you need them. That's lovely.
And like I said, it has blessed my life in so many ways, of just being able to reach out. And I have an amazing network now, not only of people that I consider business associates, but that I also consider dear friends. I met you through a dear friend that has become a business associate. Jared Easley, he's one of the co-founders of Podcast Movement, and I believe I met you in his group.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, he volunteered you.
he volunteers me all the time.
He's like, Natasha will come on. I was like, oh, okay, let's go for that.
He volunteers me all the time.
Did you know the time difference? Bless him.
I know. Probably not.
Bless. So what's your message about, the importance of positive change? Because you've gone from very small beginnings into very big where you are now and still growing. What's it important to know about positive change?
I think it's important to believe in yourself. Like, no matter what's going on, no matter what's happening, um, instead of focusing on the circumstances and things that are going on around you, focus on how you feel about them, because that's really the only thing you honestly can change. And if you change your mindset, then you'll eventually see it change your environment.
Yeah.
So, but if you try to change your environment, then you're just going to end up getting frustrated and have a very negative mindset.
Yeah. I love that. So bless you. I'm so overwhelmed that you're up at 5 a.m. in the morning and you have like 10 children, 6 figures. I mean, are you healthy? Have you always been healthy? Have you not risked burnout or anything?
I am not healthy, actually. In fact, I just finished writing a blog post about that this morning, about how this is affecting. So I have lupus. It's an autoimmune disease, for those that don't know. I had cancer a couple of decades ago, and I really almost feel like this is sort of my opinion and nothing medically, but there's been some correlation between chemo and lupus. So even though I'm in remission, I've been in remission for about 14 years on the cancer. I've been dealing with lupus ever since, and it's a struggle. I start every day. I don't know if you've ever heard of the spoon theory.
No. Tell us about the spoon theory.
Again, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, so I could not remember the name of the young lady that wrote it. But there's a spoon theory that this girl did an article where she was trying to explain to her friends what it's like to have an autoimmune disease. And she's like, okay, say that you have an unlimited drawer of silverware every day, and that's your energy store. Well, I only have like 12 spoons. So I have to decide every day how to spend my spoons so I don't run out of them. And she gathered up all the spoons from the table and she told her friend, she said, okay, tell me about your day. So her friend was like, well, I get up and I take a shower, should go away a spoon. And she's like, wait, what are you doing? She's like, that's going to take a spoon. you're only going to have the energy.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and she kind of went through her day, and like her friend by like before lunch even was almost out of spoons. And then it came down to, can I cook dinner, or can I, and I've gotten a little bit better the last few years of being able to add spoons and learning how to really rest and store up my spoons or rewash them, so to speak, by resting. But it is a struggle. It's a struggle every day to have enough energy to do what I have. And I have to be very, very aware of how I feel and what I need to do that day so that I'm able to get it all done.
Oh, wow. I've just gone speechless now.
Well, you can't do that because you're a podcaster.
No, I love that. And my last podcast, so episode 6 of series 1, was about Speak Your Truth. And my background is a chemotherapy nurse.
Oh, wow.
But I left nursing last year, like November time, but I left chemotherapy nursing many years ago. And I'm really intrigued by your connection to lupus, because one of the reasons I left nursing and what I speak about in episode 6 of Speak Your Truth is the connection I saw between kind of like repressed emotions, sort of like keeping things in, not getting things off your chest, and then delivering chemotherapy to ladies with breast cancer. But I also got quite disheartened about the side effects of chemotherapy, like how ill people would become when I was trying to make them better. So when you said about your beliefs about, even though you're in remission, the health issues you have now post chemotherapy, I was just like, oh.
Oh, that's crazy. I did not even know that about you.
Yes.
I'll have to listen to the episode for sure. No, I definitely think there's some kind of correlation between how my getting lupus, because I did not have it before that. And then, and then all of a sudden I started having all these issues after chemo. I started having joint pain. I started having, just a lot of issues. Now I do have lung problems, and that's from when my esophagus, so my cancer was in my esophagus, my stomach acid was just spilling over into my lungs. So they're very damaged, but just so many things that were not there beforehand, or if they were there, I didn't pick up on them because I was dealing with the other stuff.
Yeah.
But just so many things. And then I've read a bunch of articles, and this, just a lot of the stuff that I've read and people that I've talked to, I believe there's definitely some kind of correlation between chemo and lupus.
Yeah, same. Is obviously hugely impacting on your life now. I mean, I love the spoon therapy. That's really visual, and I get that. Like, you've only got so much to get you through the day. But I just think it's amazing to how you just holding it all together.
One day at a time, positive attitude.
And it's working. It's absolutely working. Do you have like a spiritual practice or a religious practice that you use to get you through?
I do meditate and pray every day. Sometimes I pray a lot every day. So I do have, I'm not particularly religious, organized religion. I've had a couple of issues with the church, you know, in the past. But I do feel like I have a very, very strong relationship with God. And we just chat. We talk every day. So.
Does he talk back?
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes he yells at me.
Why are you up at 5 a.m.?
Right.
Rest, woman, rest.
Taking care of yourself.
Oh, bless. Do you have like a positive affirmation or a saying you use as well?
I don't really know that I have one specific one. I just really spend a lot of time every day telling myself that the only person that can stand in my way is me.
Oh, I like that. I do like that. Like almost say like, get out your own way. Like when you're creating these blocks. Yeah.
Yeah. Because for years, you know, I had a really bad marriage. I had a really bad divorce. I had, you know, all those kids, and I just couldn't say no. And pets. I sit on the board of an animal rescue too. So like, I can't say no to kids and I can't say no to pets that need someone. So I just had all this stuff happening, and I just kept saying, you know, oh my gosh, you know, I would love to do this, but I have the kids, or I'm a single mom, you know, or oh my gosh, I would love to do this, but you know, I had a bad marriage, and you know, I spent a couple of years in that mindset, and then all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, why can't I do this? You know, the kids aren't really keeping me from doing this. The animals aren't really keeping me from doing this. You know, why am I wasting time worried about being mad at my ex-husband? He doesn't care that I'm mad at him.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
like, when I came to terms with all of that and released all of the things all of the excuses, when I released all the excuses, I realized that the main thing that was in my way was myself. And guess what? I can move. I'm not a tree. So I did. I just got out of my own way.
Oh, I love that. And a lot of that, you know, when you're sort of looking back and you're releasing it and you're getting out your own way, there's also a lot of forgiveness, isn't there?
There is. And I had to do that. You know, I had to say, you know what, your life didn't turn out the way that you expected it to, but that's okay. And once I realized that and made that connection and forgave myself because my life didn't turn out the way I expected it to, it's so much better.
I was going to say, has it turned out better than you expected? Because we put limits on ourselves, don't we? We think, oh, that's a nice existence. And then you have like these life-changing events, like, you know, the diagnoses, or for me, it's like my fertility journeys and death of loved ones. And then you just like step into a new unknown. And after many years or months, you know, you think, oh my God, I love this.
I do. It's so great because I get to wake up. And I mean, there's a little bit with everything that's going on right now that I'm like, oh, wow. But even despite all of that, most days I wake up and I'm like, wow, this is my life. You know, I am blessed that I have a career where and I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but my 6-figure income, I work completely virtual.
Oh, wow.
So I built a virtual staffing agency. So before all this happened, where we're in our homes and stuff with the virus and stuff, I was already working from home.
Yeah.
And so not much changed for me in the day-to-day of that. And so I lost my train of thought.
No, but I love that because you've created something and it's still going on now. You're always like ahead of your game, aren't you?
I know, right? That's what it was. There was a joke. So I inherited a conference. I don't know if I told you about that, but I have been going to this conference called Launch Out for a couple of years now. And the guys that were doing it had to step back from doing it because they had some stuff going on in their own company and everything. And I called them up one day and I'm like, hey guys, what's going on with the conference? And they're like, well, you know, we had to back burner it a little bit. And I'm like, well, can I have it? Actually, first I said, can I put it on? And they were like, yeah, that'd be great. You could do that. So then I started getting sponsors and everything. And they were like, well, do you own it? And I'm like, well, not really. I just, you know, I'm going to put it on. And they were like, well, it would make us feel a lot better if you owned it. So I went back to the guys and I was like, hey guys, you know, I really want to do this. Can I have it?
You don't get unless you ask, do you?
So they did. They signed it over to me, which was fabulous. But but we were supposed to do it in April. And, you know, I work for a lot of people. My clients have I have a lot of international clients. So I was already kind of seeing what was happening on the international level. And I moved it to October. I went ahead and moved it. And it was so funny. Yesterday, one of the guys that owned it before, he was like, hey, y'all remember back when Natasha moved Launch Out and then the whole world followed her?
It's the networking, building the relationships before you need them. That's why.
Right, it is. So that was funny. So it was, because of the life that I had built for myself and the connections that I had made, I was able to be prepared and not be caught with, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with my conference?
Oh, I love that. That's brilliant.
So yeah, so I've been very blessed to have built something pretty amazing for myself.
Yeah. And this all sort of started when your grandfather was given a terminal diagnosis, that you stepped away from a job that didn't suit you, the schooling.
It did.
And it started from there. So my background is, you know, as a chemotherapy nurse, but I also worked a lot with end of life. And I loved it. The lessons I learned on how to live an authentic life, what's important in life and things like that. Did you have great life lessons or insights from your grandfather when he was dying?
I did. I had some really great life lessons from him. I mean, we've always been close, but my grandfather, he was a very bold person. And he expected that of us. He expected boldness from us our whole lives. And he never let our age be something that, you know, when we were kids, it was never like, oh, you can't do that because you're just a kid. You know, it was, how you gonna do that? I mean, he taught me how to drive when I was 10. So it was really kind of cool because I had sort of fallen away from the relationship that we had as an adult and a mother and being busy all the time. And, you know, and we did have a bit of a falling out when I was, you know, in my early 20s because, you know, we think we know everything at that age.
Yep.
And it was so great to have that 10 months with him because not only was I able to rebuild that bridge, but I was able to just sit with him and talk with him and be reminded of that boldness that I was, you know, raised on. And I think that had I not had that 10 months with him and had that reignited in myself, I wouldn't be where I am right now. So definitely just being able to spend that time with him and just absorb so much of who he was before he left us was amazing.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? Like, I mean, I talk quite openly about grief, death, dying, all the D words. But I just think it's like a really privileged place to be, that you can't have those conversations with others. You can have it when people have gone through loss, you know, where they've lost a job, direction in life or things like that. But I think when you've got people with the life experience, it just fascinates me. I absolutely love it. I grew up mostly with my parents, but also my grandparents. And as you say, they don't have the age limits or they don't have that connection that you have with your parents, right? Don't do this because they're like, why are you doing that? Go for it when I was your age. And it's just really refreshing, isn't it? When you connect with people that've got life experience.
It is. It's really awesome. So I've always had, like, one of the things that I've done a lot over the years is my grandmother's is in a group at church, and they call them the Young at Heart group. And I've been able to chaperone a lot of their things. And that's always, I mean, every time I go to an event with them, I always leave it feeling like I just was filled up with them, you know?
Yeah.
They pour into you so much if you allow them to. And I think a lot of people don't realize the value of our elderly community.
They're brilliant.
They are. They're brilliant.
Yeah.
Go sit at your feet and let them pour into you. They've been through it before.
I like it because I didn't learn till I was in my, I don't know, I'd say 30s, but certainly when I got into my 40s, that you care far less about what other people think. And they're years ahead of us, aren't they? So they're just like living their best life. They know that, you know, time's a little bit more sensitive. And I just love, it's just a refreshing change where they just like go for it all, encourage you to go for it all. It's brilliant. Sometimes a bit naughty.
Right? But I think that's beautiful. I think it's beautiful that sometimes they want to be a bit naughty.
I love it. I just want to do that. I mean, I was going to say, when I get older, I want to dye my hair purple, but I do that in my 40s, so it's really going to be that challenging. But I just love the freshness, that real like thriving in life, that absolute love for life. I just think, no, they have such wisdom, don't they?
They do. It's amazing. And like I said, definitely go, because if you're ever feeling like I really need something in my life or someone to pour into me, go sit with your grandparents, because they will.
Oh, I love that.
If you don't have your grandparents, go borrow someone else's.
Yeah, should we do that? Like rent a gran.
Yes.
Because my husband and I, all our grandparents have died. They're no longer with us, but we have our parents who are obviously the grandparents to our children. And I really try and encourage those relationships, just because they offer another side to life, don't they?
They do.
And they let you eat far more chocolate than I would. So bless you. You've had such a journey through life. I find you absolutely fascinating.
Well, thank you.
Just like from, the farm, you've gone through the divorce, all the children, the chemotherapy, and just your business, how it sort of all like fell into place. I think you're a true inspiration.
Well, thank you.
Bless you. So how can people get in contact with you, or how can they find you on social media? I'm sure people are going to be like, tell us more.
So I am on Instagram as Natasha being WW, also on LinkedIn, Natasha being WW. And you can reach me at Gmail, Natasha being WW at gmail.com. So it's NATASHA BEING WW at gmail.com.
And just tell people what that stands for.
It's Natasha being Wonder Woman.
I love it. See, I knew that. But when you sent it out to me before we had this conversation, I was just like, how are you spelling that? And you went WW, Wonder Woman. I was like, oh my goodness, that's brilliant.
What Natasha came up with that. I again, my networking group, I have quite a large group, and they all call me Wonder Woman, and it always makes me feel very powerful. So
oh, well, I can see why. I mean, there's so many great tools you shared about, the networking, the relationships, the give, take, believing in yourself. You shared so much. So thank you so much for giving today.
So it was a delight to listen to you. If I have to listen to anyone's voice at 5 a.m., yours is a great one to listen to.
Oh, bless you. Not me at 5 a.m. though. That'd be shocking. Bless you. Thank you so much.
Alrighty.
Enjoy the rest of your day. There are going to be more hours ahead of you, many more hours ahead of you. So take care out there.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure you subscribe and leave a positive review. If you would like to create your own positive changes, you can buy Positive Changes, a self-kick book from all online book retailers or from ShelleyFKnight.com. If you need a dollop of positivity until the next episode, come like and follow us over on Facebook at Shelley F. Knight, Life Goes On. As always, I've been Shelley F. Knight, and you've been amazing.